Okay, let's talk about something we have all felt. You know, that flash of heat, the words that just fly out of your mouth, and then that wave of regret that washes over you. We're going to get into emotional control and the real science behind how some people seem to just keep their cool.
I mean, we've all been there, right? That split second where frustration just boils over and you snap. You say something you didn't really mean, and bam, the damage is done. But what if you could catch that exact moment before it happens? What if you could basically install a circuit breaker in your own brain?
So, first, let's really look at that moment we snap. It honestly feels like a hijacking, doesn't it? One second you're having a perfectly normal conversation, and the next, your emotions are at the steering wheel and you're just along for the ride. This is that critical point where impulse just beats intention, and it's what we're breaking down today. Now, it's so easy to look at people who stay calm under pressure and just assume, oh, they're just wired differently. We tell ourselves they don't really feel anger or stress the same way we do. Well, it turns out that whole idea is completely wrong. Let's bust that myth, shall we? This right here changes the whole game. The myth on the left is that calm people are basically emotionless robots. But the truth? They feel everything just as intensely as you or I do. The huge difference isn't the absence of emotion, it's the presence of a well-practiced, well-worn pause button. So what is this secret mechanism? Psychologists actually have a name for it, the brain pause. And this isn't some mystical concept. It's a real, tangible process happening in your brain that creates that all-important space between a feeling and a reaction. The brain pause is exactly what it sounds like, a deliberate, tiny gap in time. It's that moment of non-action between some kind of emotional trigger, like a frustrating email, and whatever you do or say next. It might only last a second, but that 1 second, it changes absolutely everything. And to get why this pause is so powerful, you have to know you're kind of working with two different brains. First, you've got your emotional brain. It's super fast, it's instinctive, and it's all about reacting now. It's your first responder. But then you have your thinking brain. It's slower, way more deliberate, and it responds instead of reacts. That pause, that's the time your slower, rational thinking brain needs to catch up and grab the controls back from your impulsive, emotional brain. So here's how it plays out in 4 simple steps. First, boom, an emotional trigger happens. But instead of just reacting instantly, that practiced brain pause kicks in, creating that vital gap. And in that little bit of space, your thinking brain comes online, looks at the situation, and lets you choose a thoughtful response instead of just defaulting to an emotional outburst. And this right here is where things get really exciting. The most powerful part of all this isn't just knowing what the pause is. It's knowing that you can actually build one for yourself. This isn't magic, it's a skill, it's practice. Seriously, let that one sink in for a second. The ability to stay calm when things get heated is not something you're born with or without. It is not some fixed genetic trait that you are stuck with for the rest of your life. And the research is crystal clear on this. This ability is a learned skill. Just like learning to play the guitar or getting better at a sport, you can literally train your brain to create this pause more often. It's all about conscious, consistent practice. And you know, even something as simple as taking one single deep breath when you feel triggered, that can be the start of building that skill. So I want you to think of this as your brain's new superpower, one you can start working on today. Every single moment of frustration from here on out is an opportunity. It's a chance to practice hitting that pause button, to take that breath, and to strengthen the connection to the more thoughtful, deliberate you. All right, let's wrap this up with the key takeaways. First, real calmness isn't about feeling nothing. It's about having a well-used pause button. Second, that pause, the brain pause, is the critical gap between a feeling and a reaction. Third, this gap is what gives your thinking brain time to step in. And finally, and this is the most important one, this is a skill that anyone, and that means you, can train and get better at over time. So let's end with this thought. The next time you feel that flash of anger or that wave of frustration, you'll know exactly what's happening inside your brain. That moment, that little gap, that's your opportunity. Your next pause is definitely coming. The only question is, what will you choose to do with it?